The name Daphne, etched across Jorge Albert Chavez's chest in bold ink, stood as a chilling testament to the obsession that would eventually turn fatal. On a dark January morning, just hours before her 28th birthday, Daphne Michelle Davila's life was cut short in a horrifying act of domestic violence. The man who had once vowed love and permanently marked his body with her name became the architect of her tragic demise. Daphne Michelle Davila was more than just a name tattooed on her ex-boyfriend's chest. She was a vibrant young woman with dreams, passions, and a family who adored her. At 27, she was described by loved ones as caring, ambitious, and full of life. Growing up in the close-knit community of El Paso, Texas, Daphne's radiant smile and compassionate nature endeared her to everyone who knew her. She was known for her determination to create a better future for herself and her daughter, often taking on multiple roles to balance motherhood and personal aspirations. Her laughter could lift spirits even in the darkest moments, and she was a steadfast friend who always made time for others, no matter how busy her life became. She dreamed of achieving big things, a future she could build for herself and her young daughter, whom she loved deeply. Friends recall her as someone who lit up every room she entered, a woman whose kindness was matched only by her resilience. Yet beneath her cheerful exterior, Daphne faced challenges that would ultimately lead her down a dangerous path. Daphne met Jorge Albert Chavez when she was in her early 20s. What began as a whirlwind romance soon spiraled into a relationship marred by control, manipulation, and violence. Chavez, then in his late 20s, was described as charming but possessive, a man whose intensity often tipped into dangerous territory. At first, their connection felt intoxicating, with Chavez showering Daphne with attention and promises of a future together. However, the adoration quickly turned into an obsession as Chavez began monitoring Daphne's every move and questioning her about her interactions with others. His jealousy became suffocating, and his mood swings left Daphne walking on eggshells. Friends recalled witnessing Chavez publicly berating her, warning her that no one else would love her as he did, a manipulation tactic that further deepened his control. Their relationship was tumultuous from the start. Friends and family noticed troubling patterns: Chavez's jealousy, his attempts to isolate Daphne from her loved ones, and his escalating temper. Despite the red flags, Daphne, like many victims of domestic violence, believed she could change him. "In reality, it's so hard for me to walk away, and I don't know why," Daphne confided to a relative in a text message shared with a local news outlet. "Old me wouldn't have lasted a second in this place. I know I have you, and I'm beyond grateful, but I can't explain why I'm attached. All I ask for is, please be patient with me." The relationship ended multiple times, only for Daphne to return, hoping for change. Each time, her optimism was met with disappointment as the cycle of abuse continued. Chavez's controlling behavior grew worse, culminating in the fateful night of January 7th, 2025. It was 3:30 a.m. when deputies from the El Paso County Sheriff's Office responded to a call about family violence at a home on Zinc Place in Horizon City, a suburban area just outside El Paso. The details were grim. Upon arrival, officers saw Chavez fleeing the scene in a gray 2024 Chevrolet pickup truck. Inside the house, they found Daphne, barely clinging to life, suffering from multiple severe stab wounds. Emergency responders rushed her to a nearby hospital, but the injuries proved too severe. Just hours before her birthday, Daphne succumbed to her wounds, leaving her family and community in shock and devastation. As news of Daphne's murder spread, details of her troubled relationship with Chavez began to emerge. Family members described a history of domestic violence that led to the couple's repeated breakups. Despite their pleas for Daphne to leave Chavez for good, she struggled to sever the emotional ties that bound her to him. Chavez, meanwhile, had a history of volatile behavior. In the days leading up to the murder, he allegedly displayed signs of increasing instability. According to law enforcement, this was not the first time Chavez had acted violently. He had previously cut his own face with a razor in an attempt to frame Daphne for assault, showcasing the lengths he was willing to go to manipulate the narrative. After fleeing the scene, Chavez led authorities on a brief manhunt. He was apprehended in Reeves County, about 200 miles away, by the Sheriff's Fugitive Apprehension Unit. On January 8, 2025, He was extradited back to El Paso and charged with murder. A $1 million bond was set, ensuring he remained in custody while awaiting trial.
Is your personal system? Is that the only one you have?
El Paso County Sheriff Oscar Ugarte praised the collaboration between law enforcement agencies that led to Chavez's swift capture. This tragedy reminds us of the devastating impact domestic violence has on our community, he said in a statement. Thanks to the strong collaboration between our partnering agencies, we were able to quickly locate and apprehend the suspect. Daphne's family and friends have struggled to come to terms with her loss. A GoFundMe campaign launched to support her family describes Daphne as a young woman full of potential whose life was stolen before she could accomplish her dreams. The page also condemns Chavez for robbing Daphne of her future and her daughter of a loving mother. For Daphne's family, the pain is compounded by the knowledge that her death could have been prevented. They hope her story will serve as a wake-up call about the dangers of domestic violence and the importance of supporting victims who feel trapped in abusive relationships. The nature of Daphne Michelle Davila's murder underscores the devastating effects of unchecked domestic violence. This case reveals how obsessive love can quickly spiral into lethal violence when fueled by control and manipulation. The dynamics of Daphne's relationship with Jorge Chavez highlight a pattern seen in many abusive relationships. An initial period of intense affection, followed by escalating control, isolation, and violence. Despite attempts to leave, Daphne found herself trapped in a cycle that tragically ended in her death. This reflection serves as a sobering reminder of the importance of early intervention and the need for stronger support systems for victims of domestic abuse. If you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence, it's vital to seek help immediately. Reach out to local shelters, hotlines, or trusted organizations that can provide support and resources. Your voice can make a difference. Advocate for stronger protections for victims, educate others about the signs of abuse, and support survivors in their journey to safety. Together, we can create a community that stands against violence and ensures no one feels trapped or alone. If you found this story impactful, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more in-depth coverage of true crime stories and the issues that shape our communities.